All right, welcome to the Heat Podcast, guys. We will be covering all topics and current events going on, but right now, our main focus currently is the Charlie Kirk assassination. Because boy, does it stink to the high heavens. I truly believe that we are being taken for a ride, as they like to say. It's become ridiculous. The entire narrative to me is just absolutely bonkers and unbelievable. And the fact that people are actually buying into it is disturbing in and of itself, especially with how TPUSA and Erica Kirk has been acting is just disturbing. And I think people have every right to question everything. One of the FBI director, or not director, one of the FBI top brass said it best. You know, we, the American taxpayers, have the absolute right and duty to call out anything we think is suspicious or, you know, off-putting, because we pay their salaries at the end of the day. That is the truth. The American taxpayer does, in fact, pay their salaries. And we have every right at any given time to dispute any and everything they say. So pretty much I've been looking into the Charlie Kirk assassination FBI timeline. And I think it's just, there's a lot of discrepancies in the timeline, but there's one massive discrepancy that I caught as I was going through, and I think other people have caught as well, but I don't know if it's been discussed as much. So I'm here to kind of highlight that tidbit of detail, that we are being told as the narrative, and let's unpack some stuff here and see if we can get some wheels churning here on finding out what actually really happened, because I think everybody at this point that's following this investigation is definitely watching and following people like Candace Owens, Coach Colin, Baron Coleman, and they all bring so many good, valid thoughts, points, and ideas on the topic, but I will say, I think there's one bit of information that nobody's been talking enough about, because it just makes absolutely zero sense to me. Okay. Let's just go through the timeline here real quick. All right, let's see here. 8:29 a.m., September 10th, 2025. Robinson arrived on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger, matching clothing and surveillance stills. 11:49 a.m. A man resembling Robinson was captured on a home camera about a quarter mile from the event site, CBS News. I'm sorry, that was at the end of the note here. They were the ones that reported that. Let's get to the shooting. And sorry if I'm kind of, making this short and sweet. I'm just trying to get to the point that I'm trying to make here. So I just want to kind of catch everybody up on the timeline that they were providing us with here. Okay, the shooting, 12 p.m. American Comeback Tour event begins on UVU Foundation courtyard. Crowd is around 3,000 people, estimated. Okay, 12:20 to 12:22 p.m. It's an audience Q&A. Kirk is speaking about shootings and political violence. 12:23. Single rifle shot to Kirk's neck. He collapsed. Crowd panicked. Some ran in fear. Others barricaded themselves. We all know that. Everybody's seen the videos at this point. 12:23. Video shows a figure running across the roof of the Lucy Center, about 400 feet from the stage. 12:39 p.m. It claims the first FBI agents arrive at and secure the scene, according to Cash Patel. 12:48 p.m., Utah Valley University sends out an emergency alert saying police are investigating a single shot fired toward a visiting speaker and that a suspect is in custody. 1:02 p.m., President Trump shares news of Kirk's shooting on Truth Social as videos of the shooting circulate online. 2:40 p.m., Trump confirms Kirk's death in a social media post. 4:00 p.m., Utah Governor Cox holds a press conference in which he calls Kirk's killing a political assassination. Cox says there is a person of interest in custody, but the investigation is ongoing. Okay, 4:21 p.m., FBI Director Kash Patel says in a tweet that the subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. 5:59 p.m., Patel tweets that the subject is in custody and has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Mason, with the Utah Department of Public Safety, later said 2 people had been taken into custody and then released on Wednesday. Okay. Now, I want to go back to, so that's just to give you kind of the rundown and breakdown of what happened that day and what the narrative was at the time about the account of what happened to Charlie Kirk. Then I just, I kept on searching and just, how to get what's the narrative of how he got the rifle onto the roof? What was the narrative of how he got the rifle off the roof? And then obviously how they stated they found the rifle, I believe, in a towel, wrapped in a towel in a bush. Okay. So according to the FBI's account, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, described in public statements as a radicalized lone actor with no military or special forces training, smuggled a scoped Mauser 30-06 bolt-action rifle onto the Utah Valley University campus by disassembling it, tucking the barrel down his pants, which if anybody's seen the photos at this point, they are not convincing. Okay, I don't care. He took it apart, any of that. It's not convincing. That's what I'm going to say for now. Okay, but let's keep going with their narrative here. Tucking the barrel down his pants, carrying the pieces to the roof, reassembling the rifle on the roof, firing a fatal shot at Charlie Kirk, and then disassembling and concealing the rifle again as he fled. Okay. So the man went onto the roof with a rifle down his pants, disassembled, whatever you want to say, okay, disassembled it. Oh, he totally could do it. Okay, fine. Let's say he could. Let's say he did, in fact, get that rifle onto the roof via his pants and backpack. Okay, fine. And he disassembled it. Okay, and he went on the rooftop and assembled it with the screwdriver that they found nearby on the roof. Okay, all right, stick with me for a second here. Okay, again, then he fired a single shot, ultimately taking the life of Charlie Kirk. And then the narrative is, because we've all seen the video of him, or what supposedly is him, running around like a large unit on the roof and then coming kind of off the back corner of the building and jumping down. And it does look like he has some type of bag or something in his one hand, possibly backpack, possibly a towel, something of that nature. But it definitely is not a rifle, okay? It is the way it's moving when he's carrying it, which I'm going to pull the video up in a moment here. It's not a rifle. I don't care what anyone says at this point. To convince me otherwise is not going to happen. And I would assume everyone else that's skeptical on this subject would also not be convinced that that was a rifle in his hand when he jumped off the roof. Now, again, the FBI's account and public statement is that he had a disassembled rifle on his person when he went onto the roof. He then assembled that rifle on the roof, fired a single fatal shot to Charlie Kirk, which again we all saw. Sadly, we all did see, and it was horrific and horrendous, but it is what happened. And then they said something very interesting, because they couldn't explain away the fact that nobody sees him carrying a rifle when coming off the back of the roof. So they say he disassembled the rifle on the roof prior to jumping down. Now, the reason I have a major issue with that one single statement is they claim they found an assembled rifle in a towel in a bush. Okay? Not a rifle in pieces in a towel in a bush, but an assembled rifle. So let me get this straight. The killer, Tyler Robinson, the accused shooter at this point, disassembled the rifle to hide on his person to get up to the rooftop, then assembled the rifle prior to firing the fatal shot, then fired the shot, took the time, disassembled the rifle on the roof so he could hide it better, right? That's what they're saying. They said, because again, you don't see any rifle when he jumps off the back of the roof. So the narrative is that he disassembled the rifle on the roof when he prior to jumping off the back right corner, of that building that we all saw. And we're just supposed to believe that a 22-year-old kid then reassembled the rifle to hide in a bush. I mean, let's just use real common sense here for just 1 second. If you were a 22-year-old, kid, let's call him, because that's pretty much what he is, a 22-year-old kid, and you had made the decision that you've had enough and you're radical and you want to take this into your own hands. You want to take the law and what you believe is right into your own hands and assassinate a political figure such as Charlie Kirk. If you're a 22-year-old kid, okay, and you go through the effort of disassembling the rifle prior to going on the rooftop, right? To conceal it, of course. And then you assemble it on the roof to, because again, you wanted to stay discreet. And then you fire the shot. Okay, first of all, the fact that they claim that he disassembled it on the roof after firing a fatal shot at Charlie is just bonkers and ludicrous to me. That's the narrative they decided to go with. But the thing with the narrative is once they put it out there, they know there was, it's like the cat's out the bag. They said it, so now it's got to stay, right? So that's their narrative. Disassembled the rifle, concealed it in his pants or bag, backpack, parts of it, whatever you want to call it. Gets to the roof, assembles it, fires a fatal shot, and then disassembles it so they can hide it again prior to hopping off the back of the roof. Okay? Now, if you went through all that effort to take the time to disassemble the rifle after you already fired a fatal shot, wouldn't you think that you wouldn't reassemble it once you're on the ground? I mean, I'm saying this in real time out loud, and I'm not even believing the words I'm saying as I'm saying it to you guys. Like, really think of that narrative for one more time. I know I've said it 3 or 4 times at this point, but let's just play it out one more time. A 22-year-old Tyler Robinson disassembled the rifle prior to arriving on campus that day, okay, to conceal it and hide it so nobody could see it, right? Climbs on the roof, assembles the weapon, fires a single fatal shot at Charlie, then decides, obviously I can't leave the weapon up here, so I now have to disassemble it so I can conceal it and nobody can see it on surveillance cameras or anything like that. Okay, following you. Then they jump off the roof. Now, how in God's name did he then reassemble the weapon just to hide it? I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out something's off here, guys. Something's majorly off. And the fact that anybody on Earth is buying that bullshit is the exact reason these things will continue to happen. Because we're all I'm not including myself, I'm sorry, because I'm not buying the narrative. But the general public as a whole are brainless when it comes to our government and news agencies. They hear it, they believe it, and they don't question it, and they move on. And it's because people put faith in our government. And that's the saddest part, is people put blind faith into their word as if they're not human. As if what they say is truth without the need to investigate or prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just, hey guys, this is what happened, believe us, and that's it. Oh, hey, excuse me, Cashflow, how did he get the rifle off the roof? Oh, that part's easy. That's an easy one, guys. He disassembled it again. Okay, so he disassembled the rifle. Prior to jumping off the back of the roof, and then once he landed, you can see in the video that I'll show, he runs, starts running away, and between then and the place that they found the rifle, he reassembled the murder weapon. I don't think anybody in their right mind, well, obviously whoever the shooter was not in their right mind. But let's just say it was Tyler Robinson, okay? And let's just say he was the murderer, right? Let's just say he was the shooter, okay? No person on planet Earth would reassemble the murder weapon that they have in multiple pieces. You cannot convince me of that. Because if you have the murder weapon disassembled, you then can do what? You can throw each disassembled piece on the grass as you run. And the chances that they find every one of those pieces to the rifle would be slim to none. If he even ran to a car, got in a car, drove away, whatever you want to say, right? The fact of the matter would be, no person on Earth that would commit that kind of tragedy would reassemble a murder weapon after disassembling it on a rooftop, okay? I read that and I kept reading it over and over. I'm like, wait a second. So the FBI's narrative right now is that a 22-year-old Tyler Robinson disassembled the rifle to get it on the roof and conceal it on his person or bag, down his pants, in his ears, whatever you want to say, right? Okay. Gets on the roof, assembles the rifle. Okay, I can understand those two things. Okay. And even with that narrative, it's almost impossible to buy because there would be you'll see in the photos. The photos show pretty much nothing other than what looks like could possibly be a cell phone in the front right pocket. Oh, he's walking with a limp. I could walk with a limp right now. Doesn't mean I have a rifle down my pants. But let's, stick a 4-foot ruler down your pants and walk around. Let's see if you can see any hint of it in your pants. And not only that, a 4-foot, level or ruler is smaller than a gun. Okay? But let's just say he did, because here's the thing, you could break a rifle down as much as you want. But there's parts of the rifle that are not able to be completely broken down, right? They don't break down any further. So my thing is, again, the narrative to this day, right now, I just pulled this up about 10 minutes ago, and was reading just to confirm that is still in fact the narrative, and it in fact is still the narrative that 22-year-old Tyler Robinson disassembled the 30-06 rifle, concealed it on his person and / bag, got up to the rooftop, reassembled the rifle on the rooftop, fired the fatal shot, and then disassembled it again and jumped off the back of the roof, only to reassemble it and wrap it in a towel to be found in a bush. It is absolutely mind-boggling that people actually are buying that narrative. It's mind-boggling to me that nobody else is pointing out just that one major discrepancy that they're telling us, because the video's there. Now, was he put on that roof as a patsy? I think when the court hearings begin, I think here's the deal, right? He's going to trial. Okay? He's going to trial. So therefore, I unfortunately I have had my brush-ins with the law in the past, okay? And if there's one thing I know, it's court proceedings. At this point, if he was pleading guilty, he would have already entered a guilty plea. And if you plead guilty, there then becomes only the question of sentencing. Excuse me. There only becomes the question of sentencing and what sentence you will receive. Okay? The fact that there's a trial being discussed would mean and hint to the fact that there will be an actual criminal trial. If there's an actual criminal trial coming to fruition in the near future or sometime in the future, then that would mean that he has pled not guilty to the charges he's being accused of. Okay? So I think a lot will come out once that trial begins, and I would not be shocked. I would honestly, you want honest opinion, I would be shocked if he's alive at the end of this trial. And I am in no way, shape, or form making any direct threats myself. What I'm saying is, the way that these things go, I have a feeling he won't be around to see the end of this trial. If he's planning on blowing this thing wide open. Because many things, but just the fact of the entire narrative stinks to the high heavens. I think everybody knows that at this point. And if you don't, then you better start reading up, and you better start opening your eyes and paying attention, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a patsy job to the core. Maybe somebody offered him a large sum of money to just go up on the roof this day and carry a backpack. Walk like you have a broken leg. I don't know. Okay? But to say that that's ridiculous to say that at this point with how things are going with this whole investigation is ridiculous. Because the fact of the matter is, nobody, just killed somebody or not, nobody would fire a shot from a rooftop, first of all, and take time to disassemble the weapon. The second that shot rang out, everybody's head, I'm sure, if the shot did actually even come from there, the second that shot rang out, wherever it came from, heads turned towards that direction after taking cover. Trust and believe, especially professionally trained heads like security should have, or police in the area, or anything of that nature. Heads would have looked over towards that area immediately as soon as the shot rang out. Okay. The fact that they're trying to push the narrative, because that's what happened. They just said, oh my God, how in the world could we explain away the fact that he doesn't jump off the roof with a gun in his hand and there's no gun on the roof? How can we explain that away? And some bright-eyed idiot said, oh, I got an idea. Just say he disassembled it again. Great idea. Great idea, Frank. Great idea, Bob. Great idea, Bill. That's a great idea. That's exactly the story we're going to go with. We're going to say he went onto the roof with a disassembled weapon, fired a single fatal shot. Went on the roof with a disassembled weapon, then assembled the weapon, fired a single fatal shot, and then we're going to push that narrative to get rid of the conspiracy theorists that are going to say, where's the gun then? It's not on the roof. It's not in his hand. Where is it? To dispel them and get them out of the picture, we're going to push the narrative that he just simply disassembled it again. That's a great idea, Bill. Great idea, Frank. Bob, I like that one, Bob. The problem with that narrative is, who in their right mind is going to believe the fact that somebody would have the murder weapon in parts and pieces and then get off the roof only to reassemble it prior to hiding it wrapped in a towel in a bush? Guys, come on. I'm no expert here, okay? I'm no crime scene investigator, okay? But it doesn't take much to add 1 + 1 and know that it does not add up to 3, guys. Okay? It doesn't take a rocket scientist or a mathematician to figure this out. The narrative alone makes absolutely 0 sense. Okay? 0 sense. So let's get to the video for 1 second, okay, guys? Work with me here for a moment. Okay. Here's the video released. Let's see. This is on YouTube. But this is just titled Suspected Charlie Kirk Shooter Seen in Surveillance Video Jumping Off Roof Post-Assassination. Here we go, guys. Here he comes here. Came running from this way. If you guys didn't see that, let's rewind this. There he goes, right there. He's going to pop out here in a second. Okay. Here he goes. All right. Now, that man does not have a 30-06 rifle in his hand, guys. Now, that is also not a 30-06 rifle. Okay. How do I know that is fact? Because of the fact that you can't flail it around like a bag or a sweatshirt, okay? But even if, guys, hold on, time out. Even if, okay, let's just say, let's just say that, let's play make believe for a second here, okay, guys? Let's just say that he broke it. Oh, because I'm in the comment section. I'm sure there's going to be people and I can't wait for it, but I'm sure there's going to be the skeptics that say, well, maybe that was the disassembled rifle in a bag or in a backpack or wrapped in a towel. Okay, fine. You got me there. Okay, fine. Why would he reassemble the murder weapon? Riddle me that, Batman. Riddle me that. Why in God's green earth would he take the disassembled murder weapon and reassemble it to wrap in a towel and hide in a bush? He has it in pieces and parts. He could simply pull behind a target, pull anywhere. I'm just saying target as anywhere. And dump a piece here, dump a piece there, dump a piece here, dump a piece there. Oh, because he wasn't thinking straight? Well, obviously he wasn't thinking straight, but he thought enough to disassemble it before jumping off the roof. And not only that, the FBI's narrative is not that he is carrying the disassembled rifle in his hand in whatever he's running off the roof with. Their narrative is he disassembled the rifle prior to jumping off the roof so he could conceal it on his body, down his leg, whatever, in the parts in the backpack, parts down his leg, okay? Nobody would then reassemble the murder weapon prior to hiding it. Nobody. Why? Because why would you? Why would you? You have in a murder trial, the weapon is everything. Excuse me, guys. Dealing with a little bit of a cold here, a little sniffles. Why would you reassemble the murder weapon when you have it in parts and pieces? And that's where I was going with it. Everybody knows during a murder investigation, the murder weapon is everything. No gun, no murder, okay? No murder charge, okay? No conviction is what I'm saying. No gun, no conviction. Any lawyer or prosecutor will tell you that. That's why they're always so they make it so imperative that detectives find out where that weapon is. So, he took the time to disassemble it to hide it, but then took the time also to reassemble it so he could hide it in a towel wrapped up in a bush? It just, the whole thing does not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Especially that tidbit of information I think they overlooked prior to publishing that to the public. And I'm just shocked that, honestly, that like Candace and other people are not all over that one fact. Like, okay, why? If that's your narrative, why was it found reassembled? Because, what, he went to his car, reassembled the weapon only to hide it in a bush? Or as he was running, he reassembled it so he could hide it in a bush? and then get to his car and then say he was trying to get back to the right. Think about that. Because that's also part of the narrative, right? He was texting his trans boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you may have, that he was trying to outweight the police presence to retrieve the weapon. So this murderer that just shot a man with a single shot in the neck from a rooftop disassembled the rifle, jumped off the roof, and then reassembled the rifle to go hide it, and then go back to his car, and then text his mate that he was trying to outweight the police presence so he could go retrieve the murder weapon? What? Hold on, guys. Hold on. I got to get away. Let me just put this thing back together so I can wrap it in this towel and hide it in this bush and then come back later and get it. Stop it. That is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and I've heard a lot of absurdity. A lot. And that is by far the most absurd thing I've ever... Oh, man, I got off that roof. I just shot and killed Charlie Kirk. I'm running. Here I go. Oh, wait. I got to put this rifle back together so I can hide it. You guys not seeing what I'm saying here? I mean, just use your brain for 1 second and tell me how that narrative makes even a remote amount of sense, please. Just even a smidgen of sense, because it makes 0 sense. 0. I mean, we could get into the whole Erica Kirk thing right this, but I'm not going to go into that right now. There will be another video on that. I'm going to get deep into the whole Erica Kirk and the fake tears while videoing her driving in the passenger seat of cars and all that. She's a master, or she thinks she's a master. And I've said it from the beginning. My own wife literally looked at me and said, like, how could you, Joe, how could you say that? 2 days after, or whatever it was, 3 days after the assassination, when she was at the podium giving that, whole speech, or whatever you want to call it, okay? I knew right then something was majorly wrong. Majorly wrong. Because no grieving widow, would act that way. Especially, Charlie was dying of cancer for 10 years or something and really battling it. And then, I could see, because there was a preparedness to the death. He was shot publicly in the neck for the whole world to see. I remember seeing my 10-year-old and 6-year-old son saw it accidentally. Accidentally. Just by scrolling through some videos. Oh my God, Daddy, is this real? Yes, it was real, but it's alarming that people are believing her just because of the fact they could never imagine somebody could be that evil. But the proof is in the pudding, guys. I mean, reality is Candace has busted this thing wide open. This whole investigation is wide open. And the majority of the reason is because of Candace Owens and her platform and all the people that help Candace Owens, all her tipsters. Okay? Like, the woman has done her homework, and she doesn't just talk out of her ass. No matter how many of you may like to think she talks out of her ass, she does not talk out of she does not talk out of turn, man. She's not just talking to hear herself talk. She's very intelligent, and she does her thorough homework and has millions of supporters that are out there scrounging around looking for anything that doesn't add up. And guys, there is too much to count of what doesn't add up. And the reality is, the sooner that you buy into that narrative, that there is something majorly wrong, and you step over that line onto the other side finally, the sooner you'll realize that you were being taken, you were being taken for a walk. You were being misled. And it's okay. It's okay to understand that you were wrong by believing the filth that you've been told. Because we all at some point have to make that conscious decision like, oh, wow, maybe they're not telling us the whole truth. Maybe. Oh, but Trump's in the presidency. This is bigger than the Trump guy. I don't think Trump had a choice. Or I think they, of course, let me rephrase that. Everybody has a choice. I think in Trump's position, he felt as if he had no choice. And I'm a Trump guy. I'm a MAGA guy. I'm a supporter. Candace was a major supporter. Okay? I think she's lost a lot of respect for him now at this point. But I think that they presented it to Trump like, you're either going to get down or you're going to lay down. You're either going to get down and hey, they proved their points, right? I mean, they've already tried to assassinate him 2 or 3 times at this point. So he's, in his eyes, I can't take another one. And Candace Owens has just dropped so much knowledge on this subject. It is absolutely insane that people are actually just calling her a liar and she's nuts and she's crazy. But the crazy thing is, the real crazy thing is, everything that she's been saying is just slowly coming to fruition. Everything that all the Egyptian planes and she had this point, like this one point that she's not letting go of about the whole fact of the matter that Erica Kirk landed and then waited an hour on the tarmac pretty much after your husband just got shot is a big bit of information, guys. I highly suggest you go, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I highly suggest you go over to Candace Owens' website, YouTube channel, and you go to her website too, but go over to Candace Owens' YouTube channel and Baron Coleman and Coach Colin, and I suggest you really start watching their content. Because I think if you really watch it and really listen to it and don't put the blinders on of political parties and all that BS, if you actually just listen and hear their evidence, and I mean, Candace has a plethora of evidence against Erica Kirk at this point. And if you don't believe it, go watch her channel, because you will believe it if you go and watch her last 4 videos. I promise you that. And if you don't, then you're just in denial. And I'm not talking about the river in Egypt, guys. Okay, let's get back to it. Sorry, I just totally went off on a tangent, but there's a lot. It's infuriating when people just pick and choose to not believe somebody because of their political stance or opinion of someone, based on if they don't like what they look like, or they don't like the way they sound, or they think they're smug when they deliver the message. None of that matters when it's the truth, guys. And Candace speaks truth. Let's get back to this here, guys. Sorry about that again, for taking a little bit to get this going, but let's continue this here. Okay, there he goes, running with the supposed disassembled concealed rifle. There he is. Okay. Now, mind you, okay, whatever he had when he came off that roof, guys, let's go back. Here he is, sorry. Here he is jumping off the roof. He's got something with him. He threw down, there it is in his hand. He jumps down with it in his hand right there. Okay. He goes running by. They're going to show it again, it looks like. Guys, also like and subscribe to the channel. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to get videos out daily. Why does it keep rewinding like that? What is going on here, guys? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so there it is again. There is the disassembled rifle. Again, the disassembled rifle. That's what they claim. He's got it in his hand. Now, you have a car going by here. You have walking people here. Okay, there it is. Still. Okay, now, he obviously did not throw it here or anywhere along this way because the FBI would have reported that, right? Okay. So you mean to tell me, here he is walking. This person not noticing anything, huh? These people driving wouldn't notice a man carrying a concealed rifle? Okay, it's in his pants. Okay, fine. Again then, why would he reassemble it? Just riddle me that. Riddle me that one question. Why would he reassemble the murder weapon after successfully disassembling it on the roof? Okay, here he is. Here he is. Now, this is the video or the photograph of him coming, going up the staircase. Okay. Look how tight these pants are, guys, by the way. Okay. These are not, these are snug fitting pants. Okay. These aren't boot cut pants. These are straight leg pants, guys. Where is this? Where? In this pant leg? Because don't tell me it's here. His knee is bending at almost to 90. So don't tell me it's in this leg. So what? It's in this leg? Okay, fine. Where? Where is the bulge of this here? This here's the rifle, guys? The 30-06? Where? Here? Where is it? Guys, look at that picture for a second, please. And tell me where in the world is the rifle, please? Somebody, anybody, in the comment section, please, guys. Tell me where in God's green earth is the 30-06? Because there's no way a 30-06 bolt action rifle with a scope is anywhere on this person right now. It's not possible, guys. And if you've ever shot a rifle, you would know that there's no actual way it's on his. This isn't Call of Duty, guys. This isn't Fortnite. Okay, you don't just pull a gun out of your back and hey, there it is, and it wasn't shown in the clothing. It doesn't work like that. This is the real world with real people. A real person was shot and killed pretty much on live stream, okay? No, not pretty much, on live stream. Somebody died. Children lost their father. A mother and a father lost their son. A sister lost her brother, okay? And so on. The world lost a great man that day. A world-changing man. A political man. A man that was planning to change the very fabric, possibly, of our country back to what it meant, back to what it was meant to be. Okay? Um, but in no world can you convince me that there's a rifle concealed on this person. Now, again, was he a patsy? Was he a known patsy? I don't know. Maybe he was paid. Maybe he was threatened, paid, threatened, paid. Maybe they told him, hey, look, it's going to look real bad for you at first, but you'll be able to take this thing to trial, and you're going to beat it in trial because the evidence just won't add up. Maybe they sold him a pipe dream with large sums of money and a you won't be found guilty verdict. Or you'll be found guilty and it'll be overturned in 5 years. I don't know. But to say that idea is crazy is crazier than you believing the narrative. I mean, is not crazier than you believing the narrative that they're spewing. I'll tell you that right now. Absurd, guys. Again, like and subscribe to the channel, please. It would be greatly appreciated. I'm just getting started out. I'm just starting out here. So it all is appreciated. Comments, get in the comment section. Say all the negative stuff you'd like or all the positive stuff you'd like, please. I'm taking suggestions at this point. I did not ever say that I was the world's leading YouTuber, but I am trying and I'm putting myself out there, and it's something I'm passionate about, guys. But the fact of the matter is, something's got to be said about this whole thing, because it's sad how quick and easy everybody just buys a story, you know? And I think that nobody would ever actually think that the FBI would be, lying about this whole thing. But if you've paid any attention to anything in the past, it is the FBI absolutely lies and have lied a massive amount of times in the past. And I hate to break the news to you, but unless we do something about it and actually drain the sludge that's running this country, like the actual sludge that's running the country, not Trump. I'm talking the ones that we don't see, because that's the ones that actually run the country, is the people that we never ever see. Alex Jones has been talking about it for years. I'm not a big Alex Jones supporter, but one thing I will say is I believe he's right when he says there's the world elites, run the show. And we don't even know by name or face who they are, but they are out there and they are calling the shots. And I think Israel, at this point, I think I have to say it, I think Israel absolutely is involved. I think Candace Owens has pretty much proved that at this point. I'm sorry, but I think she has. You could say that's crazy. Yeah, maybe I am crazy. But then that would mean Candace Owens is also very crazy. And the funny thing is, Candace Owens was also a lot of parallels with Charlie Kirk. Okay? The whole special school thing, testing and all that stuff when she was young. There's a lot there. And I think if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go check out her channel, Candace Owens, and start watching, start opening your eyes and start paying attention. Okay? It's sad. It's sad because Charlie was a life and world changing human being. Just how much he accomplished already at his age was unbelievable. And where he was going, I think honestly he could have been a president of the United States in the future. I really do. And once he spoke out against Israel, I think that all changed. But guys, come on. The Erica Kirk thing, wake up, start really watching and paying attention to how she's acting and her reactions to certain questions. I'm not saying that she didn't lose her husband, but she knows more than is being led on to. Now, is she being forced into a awkward situation? Maybe. Maybe they approached her and told her the same thing. Hey, we're going to make sure your hat sales and merch sales go through the roof. The only thing you have to do is keep your mouth shut because we're going to kill Charlie. I don't know. But I think a lot more is to be uncovered. And I think if you just turn a blind eye to it and act like whatever they tell us is the truth, you are now a very big part of the problem. Again, FBI's brass said it best. We have every right as taxpayers of this country to question and speculate about any and everything they tell us. So get out there and speculate. Stop just taking their word for it. Do some research of your own. Take 1 hour a day, put TikTok down, put YouTube down, or open it up and look up something that's investigative. Look up something that has some oomph to it, you know? Don't just take people's words anymore. Fact check them for yourself, not because Fox News or CNN fact check them for you. Do your own non-biased investigation before opening your mouth on the subject. Otherwise, you have no right to dispute people that have put a lot of time and effort in on finding out what really did happen. Because there's a lot of people smarter than me out there and smarter than you and all of us that have really been digging deep on this thing. Candace is one of them. Baron Coleman's another, okay? That have really put a lot of time and effort in on this thing and are not just, your walk-of-the-mill average, intellect. They are very smart and they have a lot of resources. And I think it would be wise of everyone to start doing their own investigations prior to just taking the government's word for it. That's all I got for tonight, guys. Have a blessed day and see you soon. And please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be dropping more content soon, guys. Have a good one.